Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Athletic Scout podcast. Super excited to have on a alum of Lake Forest High School, class of 2022. Now, senior year at Denison University, baseball player, football player, currently having a great baseball season. We're going to chat about that in a second. Name is Cade Nowik. Cade, how are you?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure, man. No, good to have you on, and glad that we could do this and you squeeze in some time in between a busy time. So if everybody watching here, you are a senior on the Denison baseball team, which is ranked #1 in the country. I think you guys will start. Do you think you play Grinnell? I think on Friday, right? To kind of start the postseason. Talk about just and you're graduating pretty soon. So just talk about kind of what's going on in your life right now and this incredible run by the Denison baseball team.
Yeah, been blessed this year to be part of a pretty special group. Obviously, #1 in the country is always an honor. They were sitting at right about 40-1, which is obviously a ridiculous record to say out loud and kind of talk about. But I would say, for all of us on the team, it's not going to say it's surprising. We all put in the work every day and stuff like that. But it's honestly just a special group, and it starts with our coaching staff. I mean, those guys come in every single day, get us ready to play, and we're obviously blessed to have 3 unbelievable coaches on a staff at the Division III level, which is pretty rare to find. So, it's been awesome. And obviously towards the end of the year now with graduation, and we like to call this part summer camp, where we're just here playing baseball every day. Like, it's the best time of the year. Postseason ball, it's kind of, you get down all those games that really start to matter more. But no, it's been a pretty special year, and obviously a roller coaster ride. Now the record might not say that, but definitely had some ups and downs in the season. Throughout the year, which as any team does in any season, especially baseball. But no, it's been a blast, and honestly, it's probably the best group I've been a part of in my 4 years here.
Yeah, if you look at the record, I went back and looked a little bit. I mean, you guys had a great season a year ago, right?
Yep.
You as a junior, but I think a winning streak, it was just 39 in a row or something now.
Yep, 39 right now.
I mean, that's just absurd. If you look at some of the scores, you're right. I think you had this incredible comeback against John Carroll, Wittenberg, which I think is your rival. You had a couple close games, then I think at the end of the year. How did you? At what point of the season does a team just sort of shift into this mindset where we are? Because you think over the course of a long season, something's going to happen. Someone's going to botch a play. A pitcher may have a bad outing. You guys seem to find a way to win. Grit, right? This is just old-fashioned grit with this team.
Yeah, I would say it's funny you mentioned that word. Grit's one of our 4 pillars here at Denison. So obviously we pride ourselves on that. And I would say I'm not going to say there was a turning point, but I knew there was kind of something special after our spring break trip. I think we ended up playing 10 games in 10 days. We went out to Oregon. We played in Chicago for 3 games, flew out to Oregon, played 5 games, 5 days there. Our best player was actually out for a 3 or 4 game stretch. So, I mean, this guy's 12 home runs, only 10 strikeouts on the year, hitting 480, like just a ridiculous bat. And we somehow kind of went through that stretch and obviously played a lot of clean ball, a lot of close games. I think we won 2-1, just kind of like finding any way to win and a bunch of guys stepping up. So I'd say that was kind of the point where I knew this team, I think, was a little different, given that you're playing without your best player, but nobody flinched. And it's always a next man up mentality, a bunch of young guys stepping in. So I'd say that was kind of the point where I knew this team was a little different. It was just kind of after that spring break trip, and I think we kind of knew after that. And then obviously you played a bunch of close games as of late, but I think with us, it's like just the belief that no matter the score, the situation, like we feel like we can win in any ball game.
Yeah, if you look at the stats, I mean, you got so many guys. You got Lutt, I think Vega, Lloyd. I mean, these are the last names of these guys. They're all hitting over 400. I mean, you guys got OPS numbers, which in Major League Baseball, if you're over 800 OPS, like that's considered pretty good.
Yeah.
And you guys are like over 1, like 1.2, 1.4. I mean, it's just kind of absurd. How would you describe just the batting philosophy? Are you guys kind of grinders? Are you guys getting hitters count, make contact? Just kind of explain that.
Yeah, I would say, the one thing we kind of talk about is we kind of break our lineup down. We always call it our top of the order, our scholarship guys. Obviously, nobody's on scholarship here, but that's just kind of what Coach says. It's pretty funny. And those are our scholarship guys. And those guys are the ones that they're just looking to do damage at all times. And those are the guys, Ludi, Vega, Sungren, just those unbelievable players. And then those middle of the order bats, we don't got a name for them. They're just kind of, you got to do your job kind of situation. Like if you got to lay down a bunt, you got to lay down a bunt. Looking to do damage as always. And then the 7, 8, 9 guys, we call them energy line guys. And those guys are just trying to put something together, whether it's now we're lucky our energy line guys sometimes are hitting 380 or hitting 360 and stuff like that. But it's more kind of those gritty at bats. You're looking hit by pitches more and stuff like that. So I would say When it comes to like hitting philosophy, obviously you're just looking to do damage and hit pitches in the zone, obviously. But I think everything's kind of tailored to each person. Like each of us got our strengths and weaknesses, and I think they do a really good job of like tailoring that kind of approach to each player. Like everybody's different. I mean, we got a guy who can hit the ball 450 feet, but also swipe 30 bags in a year. So his philosophy is going to be a little different than me, not being a speed guy and stuff like that. So I would say everybody just obviously one common goal. You just want to win the game at the end of the day. But we do kind of pride ourselves in grinding out at bats. We don't like to strike out much. One of our big things is hit by pitches. We don't move. That's kind of one of the things. If the ball's coming at you, you just kind of sit there and you take your base. And I think that's one of the things I learned over the years is just, that's what it takes sometimes, whether it's, somebody's got to get hit 20 times in a year, it's 20 extra bases. So.
Yeah, that sounds like kind of a selflessness way to approach it. And I mean, at the end of the interview, I want to kind of go through that a little bit with you about talk the importance of mental toughness and that sort of thing, which you obviously have. So, and obviously pitching too. I saw some of the records of some of these guys. Of course, you lose just one game, you're going to have some good records, right? So you got a pitching staff, right? That's either keeping you guys in games and a pretty deep bullpen. It looks like it's just a mix of a good group of seniors and some younger guys. So it just seems like it's just a really talented group that has come together this year, and everybody kind of is contributing in their own way.
Yeah, I would say that was kind of the question mark coming in. Obviously, we knew we had some talent on the mound, but we lost 80% of our innings from a World Series team last year. Obviously, Nick Falter, our number one, is playing for the Padres right now out in Single A. He's got like a sub-2 ERA out there. Obviously, Mikey Gray went to Pitt. We had Sam Larson go to Tulane. We have another guy, Peter Lemke, who was our number 2. He's out at Duke as like their Saturday guy. So we come into the year not knowing really what to expect. You lose 80% of innings. But then also our number 1 this year, Will Reddick, he's been a 4-year starter for us. And so we always knew he'd kind of anchor us down. And then we got Robbie Lee, who's up there. He's actually pitching at Virginia next year for his 5th year. So definitely some talent. We have Andrew Montero, freshman, who set the single game strikeout record. So we didn't really know what we were getting kind of coming into the year. Like that was the question mark. But as the season goes on, like people just kind of take on some roles and just run with it. We got some pretty good studs out of the bullpen, seniors, juniors, freshmen. Like there's a whole mix of studs coming out of the bullpen. Then you have a guy like, I don't know if his name's Cooper Mars on there. He's probably right around our 4th starter, but he hit a grand slam in Oregon the day before, then went 7 innings perfect the next day. So that was kind of not a surprise to all of us, but we knew he was good. But he's kind of a guy who's taking the ball and run with it on the mound this year. And that's just kind of the story of like the pitching staff this year, is like guys making the most of their opportunities.
Yeah, speaking of making the most of opportunities, you certainly have, Cade, because I'm kind of looking at your stats, and you've played pretty much every single game this year. Last year as a junior, played pretty much every single game. Looks like your stats are hitting about 350, knocking in runs, kind of making contact. How have you come as somebody who contributed a little bit as a freshman at Denison baseball-wise? Remember, we'll talk football too. This is a guy who's still a true dual sport guy, but it's baseball season now. And then to see your progression as a senior, how have you gotten better? And do you approach every season and say, this year I want to make more contact, I want to hit the alleys more? I mean, do you have specific outcomes that you have goals for yourself beginning of every year?
Yeah, I would say, starting off freshman year, obviously, I mean, coming in 18 years old, you think you're going to play right away, as any guy coming from high school would. And, and to be honest, I simply just wasn't good enough. I wasn't good enough to play for us. I wasn't good enough to compete like throughout the season. I mean, I had more innings on the mound than I did innings in the field up until like the regional. But I think the biggest thing here is we always talk about like standing on the ones who came before us. And for me, it was really leaning on those seniors and watching them work every day. But also like being a part of such a special group, like I wanted to contribute to that. So obviously after freshman year, I got to be able to get in, start the regional my freshman year, which was a really cool experience. But really didn't play much, and I understood why. I just wasn't. Everybody else was better than me, and that was fine. And then kind of after like being in that playoff environment, I just thought to myself, I want to be in the field when it matters the most. And so like going into sophomore year, I kind of knew I had to put on a little bit of weight. Came in pretty light. I don't know, came in for football like 175, which is pretty light. I mean, not as a high school, I guess you think that's fine, but I mean, I'm at about 195 pounds now. So I would say like the physical change is probably the biggest thing. And then sophomore year, I mean, I was a big contact guy, not a lot of power numbers. So I always prided myself on putting the ball in play. especially at this level, like good things happen. You put the ball in play. So I've always been trying to keep the strikeout numbers low. But I think the biggest thing for me is just like physicality over the 4 years is definitely the weight room. I mean, I always knew my bat to ball skills would be there. I always prided myself on that, but I felt that my power numbers would go up and stuff like that. The more I worked out, the more I trained, the more weight I put on. So put on an extra 5 to 10 pounds this year. And obviously there were some struggles throughout the way too. I mean, I started off last year batting $120 through 15 games. Same thing this year. Started out batting like a 200 through 15, 20 games. Like it's just the game of baseball. And I think for me, the biggest thing is understanding like it happens. It just happens. But as you get towards the end of your career, like, well, the games are counting down now. So you got to start to value them a little more. You start to have a little more fun, loosen up. So I think that's helped as well. But obviously over the 4 years, it's been a roller coaster. Obviously from not playing freshman year to sophomore year, I was coming off a broken fibula. So I really didn't know what was going to happen there. But kind of just like making the most of your opportunities. And I always say, like, once you get that position, like just never give it back. But then also kind of lead from the front and show guys what it's like to play and make sure that those guys are holding up the state standards. And we always tell we got to hold ourselves to the highest standards possible here.
We're talking to Cade Nowik, a senior for the Denison Big Red, the Big Red #1 seed, ranked #1, an absurd in an awesome way, right? 39-1 record, or I'm sorry, 40-1, right?
Yep.
40 wins. They start with Grinnell. The Division III postseason starts Friday. I think you guys are hosting, right, too?
Hosting.
Right? So that's going to be cool, too, with the crowds there. Again, having a great year. I'm looking at stats right here, 354, 36 RBI. Maybe the home run numbers, right, Cade, aren't quite there, but that's okay. But you're still making contact, and your OPS, again, it's like, I mean, you'd be making $20 million in Major League Baseball with an OPS, at I guess 945. So, want to shift gear here a little bit to the totality of your career, because this is the end of 4 years at you graduated in 2022, so from the high school, so 4 years at Denison, and having played multiple sports. And we're able to do it throughout the entirety of your career. I spoke with Jack Hayden, your football coach, a couple months ago, and talked about your contributions as a football player. How did that go out for you? And I know it went out for you also playing a little bit of quarterback.
Yeah, I would say.
How things finish up for you as a?
I mean, it was good. It's good. I'm very happy with kind of the way it ended. Obviously, dealt with some injuries throughout my 4 years. Came in as a freshman, didn't play much. Again, I think physically, I don't think I was able to play at a level like this. I was just too small. So obviously, after that first year, kind of went out and put on some weight and stuff like that. Came back as a sophomore, wide receiver. Started first 4 games of the year, and I breaking my fibula in week 4. Just one of those running back gets tackled up on you, you get rolled over, and then it happens. So that put me out for the rest of the year. Another 4-month recovery. And then going into that junior year, we didn't really have a quarterback on the roster. I've never really played quarterback before in my life, and I kind of thought of the idea like, hey, if you want me to try it, I can try this for you. I'll try to figure it out. I mean, I always thought like it'd be fun to have the ball in your hand every single play. So that whole summer, kind of spent training for that. Didn't have a coach, didn't have anything, just kind of self-taught with just kind of the feel of throwing a ball, and came back and I actually ended up starting week 1 of my junior year. We went out to Linfield, who was number 7 in the country, and I didn't slide once, so I definitely paid the price for that one. Took a really good beating there. I got pretty banged up, but and kind of was backup quarterback and went back to receiver too. So I did a little bit of both, which was fun because certain wildcat packages could do some fun things. And then this past year back to wide receiver. But I loved all the 4 years here, and I always said coming in like I really do want to play both for all 4 years. Everybody thought it was just a little crazy. But no, I loved it. And Coach Hayden's been awesome. He's kind of the guy that's like, if you got a goal, like he's going to do everything he can to help you out to do that. And obviously, quarterback probably wasn't something I would ever have expected to be playing in my entire life. Obviously, in high school, we had Leo doing it for me, so I got lucky there. And then in college, we had great quarterbacks, and that was kind of a definitely unique experience, is being able to say I started a game at quarterback in college, pretty cool, and I got to play wide receiver, which is what I love as well.
Yeah, which was your position in high school for,
Yeah.
for Scouts fans watching this? Cade was a wide receiver, and he mentioned Leo. He's talking about Leo Scheidler, who was an All-State quarterback for the 2021 Scouts team, went to Notre Dame, who is I think he's at Miami now. I got to confirm that. I just heard that he was. I'm actually talking to Coach Bagnoli later today, Cade, so I'll get confirmation from him on that. But let's talk about that dual sport thing, because there's too much data out there now that supports playing multiple sports at certainly middle school, high school. You were a rare guy who I think was a 12-season varsity guy. I think you touched varsity, maybe you didn't play full-time varsity, but you either were called up, right, as a freshman, maybe for playoffs. I think baseball, you may have played third base, I think, in a playoff game as a freshman, right? I remember being there. I think I was out of Vernon Hills, actually. And so you took that multi-sport thing to a level that is very unusual, certainly now. But then you're able to play it in college. Talk about how just balancing all of that, keeping your grades up academically, socially. What are some things you've learned, and what is some advice you can give to other athletes who are maybe considering it right now at the college level?
Yeah, I would say, like, going back to high school, it's just kind of going into the freshman year is something I knew I wanted to. I mean, I love basketball. I kind of started basketball later, kind of the same with football. But all my friends were playing, and baseball was always probably my first sport. Obviously, my brother, my dad loves baseball and stuff like that. But I kind of watched my brother play football too. It's something I want to do. And then basketball was honestly all my friends were playing. I wasn't very good when I first tried out in sixth grade. I think I almost made the B team actually. Which is fine. A lot of great players go on to be great after being on those lower level teams. But I kind of went in freshman year and played all three, and was lucky enough to be on varsity at some point for all three. Now, I didn't really contribute, but just kind of like seeing that, like, you're looking up to those guys, and that was pretty cool. Obviously, with my brother on two of the teams. But no, I loved it every second. And after our freshman year, I knew it was something I wanted to do for all 4 years. And I honestly love the fact of just being busy at all times and running around and just kind of always practicing and stuff like that. And for me, the grade side of it, I always tell people, like, they always ask, especially in college, like, how do you keep your grades up? And that's the first thing. For me, I never had to worry about grades, because my whole thing is just get your work done. Get your work done and you'll be all right. You put in the time, like, you'll figure it out. And that's kind of what I've done here. I obviously had a really good academic institution here where obviously my parents helped me get through school. I almost feel like I owe it to them to make sure I'm keep holding my own in the classroom. And that's never really been a problem for me. I always knew I was getting my stuff done. And obviously balancing both, it's at college, it becomes a little different. Obviously after high school, I played three for all 4 years. So honestly, playing two, like, it doesn't feel any different than that. Like, it's just, I honestly have a little more free time than I did back then. But I would say also, you got to understand, in college, like, it's all amplified. Seasons are longer. It's just more physical and stuff like that. And obviously there's sacrifices you have to make. I would say my biggest sacrifice was probably, I would say, socially. I mean, on like the going out and stuff like that, which is obviously you could still do, but for me, that was never, I mean, obviously you got to have a good time and stuff like that with your teammates, but I love the athletic side of it. So I'd say, like, just understanding that's probably the biggest sacrifice. But also school can be tough. I mean, a lot of guys who play one sport here, college is tough because you're on your own. Nobody's holding you accountable in the classroom. But I would say, after they gave me the opportunity to play both, it was like I never thought about it. And then they just kind of brought it up, hey, you want to play both? Like, no, let's do it. And I honestly loved the freshman year. I just love being busy at all times. And I'll always advocate for people playing both sports, because a lot of times two guys will come in playing two here, and most time they end up picking one, because sometimes one's just more fun than the other. They connect better with those guys. But I always would say, like, in high school, I've had parents reach out and just like, what should my son do, or what should my daughter do? Like, just let them play it all. Let them just like it. I think it helps you so much more than you could imagine. I mean, I can tell multiple ways where each sport, like, I'm not the most physically gifted guy. I'm average built dude. But what I've learned from all the sports has kind of carried me through. So.
Yeah, I remember this quote that you gave, and I was just pulling this up while you were talking.
Yeah.
An article I wrote about you when you were a senior, and you said, quote, "I've always been able to hold my own in the classroom, and all three sports bring so many different qualities to me as an athlete," which is what you just said, right?
Yeah.
And this is from 2022, 2021. Yeah. And when I hear, quote, "When I hear of someone playing all three, it makes me respect them even more." I wouldn't want to play just one sport because I feel like that's too much time off to think. That's interesting that
Yeah.
you would say that, right? Where
Yeah.
I guess, or idle hands, and you can, find things, maybe activities that maybe aren't so productive.
Mhm.
Have you, even the guy you said you talk to parents about this, right, or
Yeah.
daughters or
Yeah.
something about this
Yeah.
kind of stuff? Is there, yeah, the social part's certainly important, but getting things done. So you talk about time management, right? So
Mhm.
when you say get things done, is it more like, okay, when you're in class, I'm in class. Like
Mhm.
you're locked in, taking notes, focusing on what the professor's saying. And then if it's homework time, if
Mhm.
that's 9, 11 o'clock at night, in the morning, it's homework time.
Mhm.
Everything else is shut down, right? So there has to be like actions with which allow you to be able to lock in, but you've trained your
Mhm.
brain over that, right? Since you're probably 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
So talk about the importance of that discipline and maybe blocking out distractions.
Yeah, I would say like the biggest thing is just like class schedule. Obviously, in college is a little lighter based on like in high school you're 8 periods a day. You're just kind of, but in college you just have more free time. But I've always been, if I'm in class, I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm just focused on like being where my feet are, and that's in the classroom, locking in, because obviously if you don't pay attention in class, when that exam comes around, you got no shot. So I'm always big on like when you're in the classroom, you got to be able to pay attention, ask questions, and be present there. And then obviously when it's time to do your work, obviously everything has a deadline, and just making sure no matter what, you get it done in time, and you have enough time in your day to get that work done. I mean, it's just the reality of it. But I'm also big on the minute I step in the athletic facility and step onto the field, I am never thinking about class. It's the furthest thing from my mind. And it's funny when I hear guys talk about school and stuff like that. It's like, now that's fine, because some people just like that's how they think. They think about the assignment they have due that night. But my thought process is if I got practice from 4 to 7, an assignment due at 10, I'll think about that assignment right when I'm done with practice. But when I'm at the field, it's literally all I think about. And I think that's helped over the years. Like I genuinely don't think about anything school related when I'm out at the practice. It's kind of just like a getaway. But that's where I like to have my fun, is out on the field, joking with the guys and doing all that stuff. But just knowing that like you have time throughout your day where you can get the work done. You're never too busy to not get your stuff done. Um, and that's always something. I mean, when now, yeah, you have to be up till 1 in the morning some nights. Sure, you got to wake up at 6 a.m. some days. Sure, but that's just life. It's just gonna happen. Like you got stuff to do. But I'd say my biggest thing is whenever I'm out on the field, or like in the athletic facility, I'm never thinking about school.
Yeah, no, and that's like an acquired skill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
What you just
yeah,
described there, right? Like
mm-hmm.
that's something you have to like train your brain to be able to
Yeah,
compartmentalize, right? And
mm-hmm.
say, in school, I'm focused on school. I'm shutting the phone off, right? When I'm in athletics, when I'm practicing, whatever tests I got, whatever is going on, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to kind of focus on that. And I think for young people, that takes work, to be able
Yeah,
to acquire
yeah, mm-hmm.
those types of skills. And just one other thing, this is also a quote this I think is also important too,
Okay.
for sampling different sports, right? For younger people. And this is a quote that you gave too. You talked about your parents, right? Eric and Jacqueline.
Mm-hmm.
And you have an older brother, Breck, who also played football and baseball for the high school, and also went on to play, had an excellent college career playing baseball. So you had good examples in your household,
Yeah,
too, right,
yeah,
Cade?
yeah.
How important is that to have mom and dad, older siblings, in the case of Breck, kind of, showing you how it's done and maybe giving you a model in the home that you could follow?
Yeah, I would say that's honestly the biggest thing. I got lucky with three unbelievable role models, being my two parents and my brother. Like honestly, I kind of just followed what they did my whole life, and it's kind of brought me to where I am. Obviously, I've had two parents with full-time jobs my entire life, but also two parents that have almost never missed any of my games, and kind of seeing the sacrifices they have to make. And obviously, it's as we're taking road trips down to Westfield, Indiana for baseball tournaments. They're on the phone the whole time. They're working the whole time, and I honestly truly admired that. Like, and just kind of seeing them work every single day on that side of it, but also like providing the care and everything for my brother and I was pretty special to see. And you don't really appreciate it until you're older, obviously, until you kind of really understand how much work they put in for us. But yeah, I had two unbelievably hardworking and caring parents, like I said, who had full-time jobs and but also, I mean, like I said, they didn't miss anything, which I didn't realize was not normal until I really got to college, of having parents there almost every single game and also having full-time jobs. But then also on the athletic side, they never pushed me to do anything. They never said, you got to play this, you got to do that. They literally were like, I played hockey for a couple of years. I did wrestling for a year. Like they were like, if you want to do it, like let's go out and do it, and let's see if it sticks. Then when I got to high school, I don't think I ever had a conversation with my family about them telling me to hey, like maybe just focus on two. Like they loved it too. They loved that I was happy doing all these things. And the biggest role model obviously being my brother. Like that's a guy who like is the definition of like leading by example. And like obviously I just try to follow in his footsteps, everything he does. Obviously a high character guy, a very, very good athlete, and kind of seeing him work every single day. So I mean, none of anything I've done is like self-taught. I've learned it all from my family, and I think that's honestly why I've got to the point I am today. And whether it's academically or athletically, like I kind of just leaned on them, and they never steered me in one direction. Their biggest thing was just as long as you're happy, like we're happy. And I know we've talked about before, but they never told me to stop playing a sport, to specialize in anything. And they honestly probably told me to stop playing football because of the injury side of it, which I don't have a good track record there. But they were always just looking out in the best interest for me. But they kept letting me play because they knew I loved it. So.
Yeah, and I'm guessing this is going to be a fun kind of last ride for them too, right? I assume that they're going to be there, right, for this run. Hopefully, it goes all the way to the World Series, and you knock on wood there for the Big Red. But you realize that too, that for parents or for siblings, certainly your parents, like this is the end too of quite a ride. You said going to all those travel league games, right, when you were in high school, driving you to all those tournaments, right? I mean, this has got to be a special moment for them. So a little more time left here with Cade Nowik. I do want to hit on a couple subjects here related more to local here and Lake Forest. As you know, Cade also is still very connected with the high school here locally here, Lake Forest High School, as we have some guys who are currently juniors. This is a big, and Cade probably remembers this when he was a junior. This is a very busy time in the recruiting calendar, probably for baseball too, but for baseball, you're playing games right now. For football, it's showcases, it's camps, all those types of things. So I know over the winter, there were some junior guys who came down to visit Denison's campus. How was that trip? You had a chance to meet guys like Emmett Heaton, Jack Berger. I think George Holland was also down there, who was more of a linebacker, defensive player. What was that visit like? And how important was it for you to kind of help show those guys around a little bit and connect them with the university?
Yeah, I would say, I actually met Emmett. He came to we played DePaul one week, and he actually came to the game. I never met him before. Then after the game, it just introduced myself, and he ended up staying the night at my place that night after meeting him, and just kind of showing him the ropes and stuff like that. But no, I mean, I love talking to those guys who are in the same shoes as me, and stuff like that. And obviously, Aiden Cassidy will be here next year. Another guy I've seen a bunch around here, and it's good to connect and just like tell them honestly like what they're getting into. A lot of the times, like I mean, I didn't really have anybody on the football team here to reach out to about what it really is like. You kind of just take a chance and see what happens. So I think the best part about like seeing those guys and talking to them is, I've lived what they're about to go through. So I can answer all those questions and tell them exactly what it's going to be like. Here's what you're going to expect. Here's what, like, just to let them know what they're getting into. Like as an 18-year-old going into college, like you don't know what you want really. Like you don't know what to expect. So I think the biggest thing was just really like kind of showing them and talking to them and making sure they understand like what everything Denison has to offer, and like if you are going to come choose to go to school here, like what you're getting yourself into, the values that are needed if you do want to contribute here and stuff like that. So I think the biggest thing is just like having like a voice that they can always reach out to, and as somebody who's gone through it, obviously with football and baseball here, like I love talking to those guys because I was in their shoes and I didn't have anybody to talk to. So I think that's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, as you know this, I mean, the importance of that peer influence. I mean, the coaches will certainly are vital to any interest in the school, but at the end of the day, you want to know what the real scoop is. Talk to the guys who are there, right? They'll kind of be honest with you. And these were some comments that Coach Hayden gave to me when he was on the podcast a few months ago, and this is what he described the prototype, Cade, of the type of athlete that fits Denison. He said, smart, gritty, high character guys. They want guys who play against great competition, right? So you want to know that, hey, you're playing against guys that have lined up against really good players. Academic readiness. You talked about that, right? That's kind of a non-negotiable. Coach Hayden said, and I think he said the common mistake that families assume is that it's all about that highlight tape, and that matters. But it's also you have to evaluate guys. So this is Coach Hayden saying this: thrive in our environment, classroom, locker room, in the field. And he said, fit matters more than prestige. Does that, what do you say to that?
Yeah, I would say, I agree. I mean, obviously Coach Hayden knows best. He's been here for a while and doing it at a high level. But I think the first thing that if you're going to come to Denison, you do have to have the be academically able to come to a school like this. Like, it honestly starts there with the classroom. Like, if you can't hold your own in the classroom, it's just obviously your high school transcripts can tell coaches if you're going to be able to hold your own. Like, they're not going to offer you a spot here because you might be done after a semester. You got to hold a 2.0 to be able to play. So I think it obviously starts academically, but also just like high character guys, and like obviously they have certain high schools they tend to lean on when it comes to like recruiting. They know where guys come from, they know coaches. But I would say, yeah, I mean, the highlight tape, sure, you can have a good highlight tape, but if you're not a good teammate and you're just a selfish guy, like, you're not going to come to a place like this and succeed. It's just not what this place is built on. It's built on high character kids who want to compete and come together to compete for a common goal. And at the Division III level, you probably shouldn't have your own individual little like agendas, because we're playing, at the end of the day, it's Division III athletics, and it's more of a team game than anything else. Like, nobody's getting paid to go to school here. Obviously, you're literally just coming together to try to win championships and fall in love with the process while doing it. So a lot of those guys who might have different agendas, maybe think about transferring, coming in right away, like, those probably aren't the guys that are going to succeed here. It's more guys that they're going to buy in, they're going to get gritty, and they're going to fall in love with the process of getting better every day. And they have to understand that probably as a freshman, often more times than not, you're not going to be playing that much. Now, there's anomalies that are just unbelievable players who will play as freshmen, but you also just got to have the whereabouts to know that there's a good chance you probably won't be playing as a freshman, and that's okay. And you got to keep putting in the work to put yourself in the position to win.
Yeah, I think what you described too, there's certainly plenty of characteristics that describe the high school program that you graduated from, right? I mean, it's the scouts, even that senior group. Unfortunately, you weren't able to finish that year as you had a knee injury that year. Not with the exception of Leo, who was an all-state player. You had a lot of great players on that team. Excellent offensive line, Watson Allen, right? I mean, Jade Cater. You had, defensively, you had, Brock Uline, a very young, Tommy Aberle on that team, Max Turlap, right, who was at nose tackle for you guys. Not Division I guys, right? I mean, just not, but managed to make that run to the semifinals. And but that's got to be really cool for you, Cade, to know that, hey, you're kind of, I mean, there were Denison guys before you. I think there was a kid named Carpenter, I think, who was there, 10 years before you or something, like, who came from the high school. But the fact that now more guys want to maybe are interested in it, and some of it is because of your contributions there, and the fact that now you are sort of leaving that legacy, where now there'll be more guys. It'd be nice to have 2 or 3 guys a year, right? Kind of going to Denison.
Yeah, no, for sure. But it's cool to see definitely now. All the interest, like with 5 or 6 guys coming on a junior day, like you said, when I was coming in, there wasn't a Lake Forest guy on the team, and it's always nice to know that, like, obviously with Coach Hayden, I know he was out there last year, and he talks to Coach Spagnoli as well. It's kind of cool to see that nowadays, and obviously I have the inside scoop of the players back home too, stuff like that. So I'm always saying, like, hey, here's a guy from the high school that I think could play here, because I know what it's like. I don't know the type of athlete that it takes to play at a school like this. Now, it's different to be on the roster versus to play, obviously. But no, it's pretty cool. And then obviously, like I said before, like, for these guys, like, if they do have any questions, like, they have someone to reach out to and stuff like that. But no, it is nice to see now, like, more of a track record of people coming from Lake Forest to come compete here, because, like you said, I mean, like, from our team back in like 2021, I guess it was, like, it was just guys who love being around each other, who just made each other better every day. And I think that's exactly what we do here. And it's good to have, like, like-minded people come here and want to compete as well, which is obviously, you got like-minded individuals compete for the same goal. It makes things a little easier. And obviously when you have friends who come to school and former classmates, it always makes it more enjoyable, and you can share those experiences with them.
Yeah, and if anybody's interested in watching some old clips, I mean, Shiler and Nowik on those deep post routes, man, it was kind of money, especially when guys are playing man coverage on you, and you say, okay, all right, man, I got you here.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Safety's backing up a little bit. Yeah, we'll find a spot for you.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so last couple moments here with Cade, I want to hit on a couple things. So again, appreciate your time. Of course. Cade he's got baseball going. He's also graduating soon. He's got finals. So again, good problem to have. Wouldn't trade it for anything, right? I'm going to ask you about what's happening in college athletics right now at the I guess, higher levels, meaning Division One, more kind of Power Four levels. The portal, you mentioned a couple Lake Forest guys like Mikey Gray and Sam Larson, who are Lake Forest guys who hit the portal. And again, I'm in favor of this player empowerment era. I think players should get as much as they can. What are your thoughts just in general about, and maybe even your buddies, if you guys talk? I know you're an economics major, right?
Yeah.
So you certainly would have some thoughts on this. Is this a good time for an athlete? I mean, this abundance of options. Has there ever been a better time, in your opinion, to be a college athlete in terms of what's available to you now and the options that you have?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely a great time. I would say when it comes to the portal and stuff like that, obviously Division III level, you don't see it much now. For us, obviously, we lost 3 pitchers to the portal, but I mean, these are guys who have now competed in the ACC and stuff like that. So it's a little different. Like you'll never fault the kid for going to try to take that jump to in those 3 cases. Like they all want to play professional baseball, so you're never going to fault them for it. Now's the time where they can make that jump, but also be compensated for it financially. So you would never blame a kid for leaving for a better opportunity. That's just how it works. That's just how life works. Like you're going to take the best opportunity for yourself and your family. And obviously, I've stayed in touch with a lot of them. Peter Lemke's the guy who went to Duke, and he's probably the guy I stay closest with. And he just went 8 shutout versus North Carolina 2 weeks ago. And he was pitching in the middle of Ohio in February last year. So you never fault the kid for obviously leaving for better opportunities. But I say right now is honestly a great time in college athletics. I know there's going to be a change here for like the 5-for-5 rule with players getting 5 years of eligibility, but I think it's awesome that guys are getting compensated. I mean, they've been making the NCAA so much money over the past couple of years, and to see them be compensated for that, it's honestly pretty cool. And seeing some former teammates and stuff like that go on and to be successful, but also be paid for being successful because of the money they're making in their schools. I think it's a great time to be a college athlete. And obviously at my level to Division III level, it's honestly makes our connection stronger here because we know we're just in it for the love of the game. Like at the end of the day, none of us are making money or anything like that. Now there might be some Division III football guys, the powerhouses that are. Actually, I know there are some powerhouse D3 football players that are making some good money, but kind of for us here being a Division III baseball team and football team, it's fun just knowing that you got a bunch of guys who just love the game. So it makes it more enjoyable for us. And then obviously guys who want to go and compete at the next level and like they got the opportunities to, and now they can get compensated for it. So I think it's a great time to get into college athletics. And now guys will have 5 years of eligibility coming up pretty shortly. So, I mean, it's awesome. And it's honestly the best couple of years of your life. But now that you can get paid for it, it's even better.
Yeah, and do you feel as though that there's some trickle down or even trickle up, I suppose, Division III, where, again, by numbers, there's more athletes competing at Division III than any other division, right? Just certainly because there's just more schools and all different sports. Denison looks like fully funded. You guys have great women's basketball team there too, right? The baseball team, speaks for itself. You probably have a couple other sports, football, other ones that are doing well. Have you seen you feel like, hey, it's maybe Division III guys overlooked because maybe they're not recruiting freshmen. You go D3, but then you have a chance to move up, or maybe guys get over recruited. The market corrects itself, and you see guys kind of trickling down, maybe finishing their career at Division III, but at least you get a chance to play. Either way, it's kind of good for a school like Denison, right? I would think, which has success. Coach Hayden says he's not going anywhere, right? I think that continuity matters, right, with the coaching staff, right? It's kind of like Coach Spagnoli, right? You show up to West Campus, coach is going to be there. It's been there for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
So I just your thoughts on kind of like how the environment is now. Do you think that it benefits a Division III program like Denison?
Yeah, I would say I know there's been some roster size changes over the years, which I think you've definitely seen more talented kids get to the Division III level. I know they cut down baseball and football rosters, so there's just not as many kids going Division I. Like numerically, there just aren't the roster spots for it. And I think once you get to a place like Denison where we are competing at the highest level, you start to realize that the gap isn't as big as you would probably think. I definitely thought that way coming in my freshman. Oh, Division III. I mean, how good could these guys really be? And then you got these All-Americans who could go be playing at any school in the country, but they just love the fit here. And I've been blessed, honestly. Like I've had the same 2 coaches for both my 4 years, and usually there's a lot of change. I have the same offensive coordinator for 4 years. But the year before I got there, the seniors had 4 different offensive coordinators in 4 years. So there's just a lot of turnover in the coaching staff usually, but that's just a financial thing. These coaches are severely underpaid. as like Division III assistant coaches and head coaches, obviously. But I've been lucky to be at a place where I've had the same coaches for all 4 years. But you definitely are starting to see that trickle down, or guys who will probably take a shot at Division III level, because I think now the biggest thing is going to be able to find a place where you're actually going to have a shot to play, or a place that you're willing to develop for a couple of years. And a lot of the times, kids are stubborn; they don't want to develop. They don't want to sit there for 2 years and develop, and which is fine if you want to try to jump ship right away and see if there's better opportunities. Like, there's no fault for you, but also there's some programs where guys will wait. Especially here, guys wait their turn. It's a year or two before you're starting to make an impact on the field. But then it's a lot more special when that time comes. And we had a guy, like you mentioned earlier, Nate Lloyd, didn't really play much last year. Honestly, didn't play much at the start of this year. And now he's batting 460, and honestly, one of everybody's favorite kids on the team because he's just a grinder. So it's cool to see like that kind of stuff pay off over time. And like there's like if you can have patience with your development, like nothing will happen overnight. So I think that's something I've seen at Division III level is kids are just more patient. They're not jumping ship because, again, it's Division III. But I think there's definitely going to be some trickle down and definitely some more talent coming to the Division III level just based on like the roster size and stuff like that, which is fun because like we're playing on when you go play on the national stage. Like I said before, we had a guy going who's now playing professional baseball, 2 in the ACC. We played against guys who are playing all over the country now. Like it's a high level. It's definitely a high-level league that we're in, and we're playing with guys who genuinely can go play at a lot of different places, but they like to win also. Like, guys just like to win, and once you get a taste of it, you don't really want to go anywhere else.
Yeah, and of course, Denison baseball. I mean, you guys, this is what I think 7 conference championships in a row, right, Cade?
Yeah.
I mean,
the
ASC championships. So you guys do certainly win a lot. And real quick, did you ever think about it? Transferring or going up a level, or was that even something you considered?
No, it was really never anything I considered. I mean, I honestly, after my freshman year and just kind of coming here, it's like it's just there's something, like I said, value of just kind of waiting your turn. And honestly, it's just from the guys before us. Like when you're at a school where everybody's been there for 4 years and everybody's going to be there probably for 4 years, like it's pretty special what you can build. But no, it never crossed my mind. I was hoping this the 5-for-5 ruling got passed a little earlier. I would have loved to go play another year of baseball.
Okay.
But I never thought of. I really never thought of transferring at all. I honestly, I love to win. I love to be around like-minded individuals. But also, like, I don't think there's better coaches than what I have out here. So in my eyes, there's no reason to leave. And obviously the degree. So.
Yeah, the degree, of course, which you'll get here soon, right? Shortly, in a couple of weeks. And it's really so. If this, what Cade's talking about is this is likely going to pass. It's not, hasn't been final. It has to go through all the bureaucracy that the NCAA is. But there's a rule now where you have 5 years as an athlete to play 5 years. But that's it. Meaning you during the 5-year time frame, you can play 4 years if you get injured, the redshirt thing, but you can't have these guys who are 24, 25 years old that are now applying for all these hardship years. They're trying to eliminate all of that. And I don't think it's going to be retroactive. No. It appears to be it's for, but you'd have continued to play, right? You'd have gone.
Yeah. I probably would have tried to play baseball somewhere. Honestly, just it would have been fun to try to take that next step of wherever I would have ended up. But honestly, no. During my time here, though, I never thought of jumping ship at all.
Okay. And after you finish this run with Denison, what is next for you? You said you're graduating. You're graduating soon here of Denison. You guys hopefully will go on this run until early June. What's next for you?
Yeah, I have a sales job lined up actually in Northbrook. So I'll be back home in the Chicago area. Working sales for a staffing industry. That's kind of what I'm doing as of right now. I've got some other things trying to figure out, maybe floating around the possibility of grad school and stuff like that. So honestly, that's probably the number one. Got a sales job lined up back home, but still trying to figure everything out, but mostly just kind of enjoying these last hopefully 4 weeks here, and then just figuring out what I'm going to do with my life. But definitely just trying to soak it all in here, and then we'll kind of figure that out when it gets there.
Yeah, don't be in a rush for the sales job. I mean,
exactly.
be grateful for. I know it's not a great job market out there for a lot of college graduates, from what I'm hearing, and some people who I know. But to get the rest of your life to be a sales guy.
Yeah, no. That's what my parents have always told me. Don't rush. You got a whole life to work, and just kind of enjoy it while you can. So I'm looking forward to just being where my feet are here and just enjoying the guys. Like I said, for no school in baseball. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. So.
And before I do wrap up,
Yeah.
I do have to ask about the impact of being not just with the football program, but certainly with the baseball program and also the basketball program. Again, Cade was a three-sport guy, played for Coach Spagnoli, played for Coach LaScala, who just retired this past year. This was his first year, 20 all time. Again, you have the I think the notable milestone, I think, of playing for guys who are now the all-time winningest football coach, all-time winningest basketball coach in La Scala and baseball. I don't know if Del Fava has passed Tommy Myers, but he certainly would be close to Tommy Myers, who Del Fava replaced as baseball coach. The impact of those guys. You talk about the importance of coaching at Denison. You've had great coaches there. Just for you now, being a 22. 23-year-old guy, having those high school coaches, and where what they did for you as an athlete, as a person, as you got older.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, I definitely was blessed with the coaches I had, and I didn't really realize it till I got to college and kind of talked to people about their high school coaches and stuff like that. But I mean, Coach LaScala and I are honestly talking very, very regularly. We're just talking about whatever. And him and I were always golfing throughout the summer. Coach Bussey actually just texted me the other day. So met with Coach Spagnoli over the winter. And then Coach Del Fava is always in touch. So I've been really blessed with the coaches I got to play for. And I definitely took a lot from them. Obviously, just the kind of the way they go about and the way they attack the day. I've definitely learned a lot from their coaching styles. And I think it's definitely helped me a lot. Obviously, I had a really good connection with Coach LaScala throughout my 4 years there, being the one sport I didn't play in college, but just taking a lot from him. Same with Spagnoli and stuff like that. But there's always value in good coaching, and I'm always I kind of like the tough love kind of coaching style. I always think that's the best, and just kind of guys who play for guys who are just straight shooters. They're going to tell you how they see it, and that's what I think is the most valuable. And they're not going to sugarcoat things. They're not going to hold your hand through anything. Like it's sports. It's difficult. They're going to tell you it's difficult. They're going to tell you when you mess up, and I always thought that's the best way. But also like wanting what's best for you at the end of the day. Like all these coaches are willing to help you with job searches and stuff like that. And like once you're into the real world, like they're still looking out for you and trying to set you up for success. And I honestly love that I've maintained relationships with all of them. Obviously, Coach Del Fava and I text on a regular basis, hanging out, and then Coach LaScala as well, just staying connected with those guys who, for me, meant a lot in my coaching career. And I don't know how I got this lucky to go from those 3 head coaches to the 2 head coaches I have now. Like it's pretty special to play. And then you learn a lot from these guys, and you can carry into the workforce too through my internships and stuff like that. Like it's not just about sports; they're life lessons these guys share with you.
Yeah, no, and those guys are still around, right? So, Coach Spagnoli's not teaching anymore. I know, Coach LaScala is still teaching, right? And he's not, and he's, I think he's a assistant varsity coach, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he actually called me. He called me like last week. We were just talking about the baseball season. So it's funny to hear his input on the high school baseball season, even though he was my high school basketball coach, and just kind of talking with some things that I've learned to maybe help out those guys. Obviously, playing for probably the best coach I've ever played for, and Coach Deegan. Obviously, all the stuff he does speaks for itself. So I was just trying to share my input of what he's taught me, maybe help those guys, and maybe help Coach Scott out a little bit as he's coaching first base there. I thought he'd be done with high school sports, but he can't stay away.
No, I think he's, and Coach Del Fava, I think, is coaching the freshman team, right? So I think he stepped down from the varsity coach. I think he's now the head freshman coach. So maybe they step down from roles that are maybe a little bit more, from a varsity perspective, you're dealing with so many things other than the sport. Yeah. So stepping down, you can just coach sports. Yeah. Just deal with the athletes. But coaches like that still like being around players and being around athletes. That's why Coach Spagnoli still does it, right? I think he loves being around the guys, and that will never change. And also the teaching and the educating part. That's what these guys are at heart, right? So they just do it. They do it through athletics and those type of things. So, Cade, appreciate the time. Yeah, best of luck. And real quick, anybody who's interested in following Denison, can people where they can find? I assume the games will be streamed. Yeah. Right. So where can people find about Denison and maybe want to watch this postseason run by the Big Red?
Yeah, they can just look up. Just Google Denison baseball. Just hop on our webpage, and if you go to our schedule, all the games will be streamed at the bottom of that schedule. It should say like watch live or watch the live stats. So there should be a good stream here, and hopefully we can keep this thing rolling over here.
No doubt. Best of luck to you, Cade. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Gotcha, man. Hold on one second.